All right. Hey, everybody. So, unless you've been living under a rock lately, GPT is the thing right now. We've been playing around with it. I've been playing with AI for, I don't know, maybe a year or so, off and on, and just, I'll get it once in a while and try to do something and see where the technology is at, see how I'm liking it. I've tried various different companies and different products. And right now, Chat GPT is free. It probably won't be for very long. So I would encourage you guys to bog down their servers even more than they already are and start messing around with it and seeing if this is something that you want to play with long term or would actually pay for. Um,
Yeah.
to
And
me,
one trick that I've found helpful is if you're kind of trying to access it on non-peak business hours, it's a little easier. So if I get up early and then it seems to do, I can get right in. So whereas I waited until after 9, I'm in Central Time this morning and I couldn't access ChatGPT. I could access the Playground, which is on the same site. Well, we can talk a little bit more about that. And that is, there's a hefty free, I don't know, trial period or whatever, but then it is paid after that ends. So
yeah, and it's not expensive. It's like
no,
$18. And they give you $18 in credits, and it's like, I don't know how many words. It's a
I think
lot.
it's like nearly 1 million or something like that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you
not
can go
entirely
for a
certain
while.
how they count it, but yeah, it's really a lot.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
if
if
they want to
it's
charge me $18 after that, that's great.
yeah,
I'm fine with that.
yeah.
But I haven't actually played with Playground. You're more into the Playground than I am. I'm just, hitting Chat GPT.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's there's a wider variety of things is my understanding. I haven't tried done a comparison between both of them to see like how similar or different they are. Which that might be an interesting experiment to do, is to have both of them up and then give them the same prompts and see. Although, when in Chat GPT, like you could give it the same prompt 2 different times and it will give you different stuff. So
Right. Yeah.
depending on what you're asking it to do. So that's
Well, it's the same tech, so I don't
mhm,
think there should be any difference. It's just you
yeah.
probably are going to get better performance, you know, out of Playground.
Well, and I think Chat GPT 3 is, or yeah, Chat GPT. They've got too many things. I think so my understanding is that the AI system all of that's based on is GPT-3, so which they expect GPT-4 to be out here shortly. So I keep like mashing them all together.
Yeah.
So and then who knows what kind of leaps forward they'll have at that point. um
It's
so
progressing really quickly. I've noticed that just looking at it over the course of a year.
yeah,
Because I was using the same, Jasper uses the same tech as Chat and GPT, and Jasper was okay, but
yeah,
this is better.
yeah,
I'm sure Jasper's good by now too. I just haven't been back on
right. Yeah,
it.
so all of this takes time and energy and remembering to do it. So
Yeah, well, it's just these bots that are consuming the whole internet, and that's how they're getting their information
mhm,
to
yeah,
regurgitate to you. So,
yeah,
I mean, as fast as they can chew through it,
hmm, they're up to 2021
and,
evidently
and people
currently.
keep, yes,
So, and one of the things too that this kind of means of using AI is new-ish, not super new, but if you've ever used Pro Writing Aid, Grammarly, the website things to say that you're not a robot, all of those utilize artificial intelligence. So it's not necessarily a completely brand new
right.
way out of the um, And I think that there's probably other aspects of our life where AI is used more commonly and we're just accustomed to it, so we don't really think about it. But there's a lot of debate on the kind of the legalities, the ethics, and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to hear wildly different opinions, and you may have wildly different opinions than we do. So, which is fine. You need to do your own research. You need to do your own due diligence to make sure that your use case you feel comfortable with, that it's ethical and
Yeah, I think that's important because like I don't feel like I want AI writing for me. That's, you know, if it wants to flesh things out, I'm using it to pull research for me. It's generating outlines for a presentation that I gave yesterday. I didn't get around to doing an outline for this one, but I did go in and just ask it what its best uses were for marketers. And it gave me a list, and there were things in there that were pretty obvious, like, you know, advertising and stuff like that. But there were a couple of things that I was just like, how would you even do that? So then I asked it. So it gave me a step-by-step of how to create a chatbot for my website to recommend products for people. And I don't think I'm probably going to do that, but now I know how. So if you need to understand how to do something, you can ask
it.
And if you have some broken code on your website, you can stick it in there and go fix this for me, and it will fix it.
Oh, that's crazy. Have you tried the code?
No, I've just heard somebody else say that they did that. So what I've been doing is I've been figuring out who all I want for my virtual staff, you know, and if you've been in our class, you've already done this homework, you know, of all your employees that you want and everybody that you want working for you. So I have like a fake customer service agent, and we really don't use this for customer service, but every once in a while, one of us will either be too angry or feeling too compassionate, and we'll either want to, you know, the emotions get in the way of what you actually should do. So over to ChatGPT, I want you to act as a customer service agent and respond to this email in a calm, compassionate tone. Here is our customer policies or our store policies. So then it spit out, you know, a pretty long 3-paragraph response to this customer. And what it came back with was something that's kind of very obvious, like mirroring or active listening, where it was kind of regurgitating the exact words she used, you know, which is a great psychological technique unless they catch you doing it. So I'm like, hey, this is like the text version of mirroring or active listening and being really obvious about it. Can you rewrite it? So then it rewrote it, and it did a good job, but it left out our policy. And I'm like, can you reiterate the customer policy? So then it finally spit out something, you know, in the end that was good. Mm-hmm. Not that we used it, but it was just like, okay, this has possibilities for when we get stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, with a lot of the output, I don't think that most people are going to want to use the output as is. Right. So I think it's going to be.
And you probably shouldn't, because Google has said that they're going to ban anything with AI. Yeah. So any AI content, and I don't know how true that's going to be in the future, but you know, if you think that you can get on here and just generate a whole bunch of blog posts and scam Google, that's probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Google's using this.
Google has their own AI.
Yeah. Well, not this one. I meant AI in general.
Yeah. Yeah. So Google is not anti-AI, but yeah, I don't know how this is all going to shake out. It's really new. We're all still experimenting and we're finding our way, basically. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be an early adopter, if you want to get in on this for free right now, now's the time to do it. So in addition to my customer service agent, I decided that I don't like coming up with meal ideas very much. So I got myself a fitness trainer and nutritionist and told it, my weight and my age and that I'm busy because I don't actually like to cook. So I wanted it to give me easy things and you can stick in whatever else you want in there. If you're really on a low budget, then say budget friendly, or if you're paleo, then say you're paleo or gluten free or whatever it is. And it actually did a really nice job. It's probably not for me because I like to eat leftovers and cook once and eat forever on that. But it did come up with some stuff, and it had me eating yogurt and berries a couple times for breakfast. And I'm like, hey, I don't mind eating Greek yogurt, but it's not a meal for me. That's a snack. So can you come up with some alternates? So then it regenerated the meal plan with better breakfast ideas. But it actually looked really nutritious and solid, and not complicated.
That's awesome.
Might be a little expensive, but
Yeah.
definitely cheaper than hiring somebody to do that for you. Oh, and then after that, I was like, okay, this looks good. Can you generate a shopping list for me? So
And you can take it to the store and connect it up with your store
no,
account. Order all this stuff for me so I can pick it up at 5 on Thursday.
right.
That's awesome.
So the other thing, I had to go through the Bible and pull mentions of certain things out of there. And one thing I will say on all of these things that I've tried to do, it does a dandy job of writing disclaimers. So anything you would ever want to put up on your website, maybe run it through this thing first and have it touch it up and put a disclaimer on there if it needs one. Because it did it for the meal plan, consult a qualified nutritionist. And the Bible stuff, it's telling me, I can provide information and analysis on various passages and topics from the Bible, drawing from multiple translations and commentaries. However, please note that I am an AI model and my understanding and interpretation of religious texts may differ from that of a human expert or theologian. Surprise. Additionally, as a machine, I do not have personal beliefs or opinions, which is perfect in customer service.
Right.
So I was kind of like, I don't know about this spiritual stuff,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can say that it missed a couple passages that are a little more obscure that I know about, and it didn't pull those. So jury's out on whether I trust it to be my Bible scholar.
Yeah. Probably a very junior Bible scholar. So
Yeah. Well, all of this is like, if you're going to have it right for you, it is going to be very junior. And the best thing that you can do is go in and create a new chat for each of these positions that you want it to function as, and tell it, I want you to write advertising copy for this business. I sell this product. These are my customer avatars. And you need to write everything in a persuasive way that an advertiser would. And here are some previous things that we've used. Start feeding it all of your stuff so it learns your tone, your language, your information.
yeah.
I mean, you can put all your past copy up in there and then have it generate something new based on, this product, and put the product description in and have it spit something out.
Yeah. And that's more along the lines of what I've been doing with it. I kind of had it write some short blog posts. Just that was my first attempt, and I was just curious as to like how does this thing work? And how good is it?
Yeah.
So, and that's they're gonna need, some heavy edits. But it's, for me, it was kind of like a good, well fleshed out outline that I can use to go from there. So I probably will continue to use it for that. When I first heard about the playground thing, then I got really curious about it. And I'm not sure on all the differences and all that kind of stuff, but they have different models in, I think they call them models. So you can choose the different model. You can choose kind of what you want it to do, and then you can put in your stuff. So like I was experimenting with Summarize for a second grader. So I just fed it in like I transcribed some videos, and which that's AI again. And then I put them in here and had it summarize it. And I was like, well, it's not too bad. So again, it was a lot of the spiritual things, and a lot of that I do want the nuances. And so I don't know that it's going to be a super helpful thing. So but you can also, for this one, you can have it parse unstructured data, which I don't know what that is, but I thought that's interesting. You can translate from English to other languages. You can have it explain code. You can have it do a Q&A. So there's a lot of different things. And then they've got a lot more, at least from what I remember between the two, a lot more specifics that you can do. And I don't know what they mean. Like, I don't know what the temperature means. So the maximum length of what you're looking for and all of that. So but when I fed it in to Summarize for a second grader, I thought it did a really good job. I mean, that's
Yeah. And that's all prompts that you could do in regular chat GPT, because you don't get to really choose and like, oh, I want this, this, this. You basically formulate it in your head and tell it, please summarize this for a second grader, or, you have the conversation.
Yeah.
It's like you would any employee that you are just bringing on staff. You've got to explain all the stuff that you want. And to the degree that you're able to do that is what you're going to get back. But you don't have to just take the first iteration either. You can go, okay, I like this, but.
Yeah. And I haven't experimented too much with that. I was just kind of playing around with the different settings and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's like what I did for the blog post. I just said, write 300 words on this topic, or write 1,000 words on this topic. So, and somewhat human-like, it did not stick directly to the word limit. So, but what I had trouble with in ChatGPT was getting longer form content. I was just trying to figure out what the limitations were. So, and I haven't experimented with that on Playground yet to see if that's where you can get more long form content.
And I think maybe what you need to do is have it do an outline first, and then
have it do like each of the pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's I did that for a couple of the longer, because I just more like the pillar page type articles where you've got like the little bitty overview, and then you have blog of each of the points on your outline for your sitemap, and then you've got the fully fleshed out ones that it links to and that kind of stuff. I was experimenting with that. So, but I ran into difficulty with the length. So I want to experiment with Playground if I get back to that. I just, you get too fun experimenting with all kinds of stuff. You forget, oh, right, I was going to try that.
Yep. Story of my morning.
Yeah. So,
I wanted to say something about the research too. I've been using it to just gather research so that I don't have to.
Yeah.
But, the whole, I read it on the internet, so it must be true. It's basically just consuming all of the internet to get its information. So you do have to fact check it.
Yeah.
And
if you're going to publish it, you're going to need to cite, anything that isn't common knowledge. So you're going to have to So if you're fact checking it, then make sure you grab the pertinent links so you can have those for your citations. So, as well as I mean, even if you're not planning on publishing it, that would be good practice to get into, just so that you can go back and refer to the original place where you found that statistic. So that's not something I've always been real good about doing, and I regret that now. So
I'm gonna try real quick to see if I can get it to cite a source on something. I just asked it where I got that information. Yeah, it's being vague. Comes from practitioners and other sources that discuss that.
not
Followed
helpful.
by the disclaimer to seek professional help. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's ideas, I guess, maybe.
Mhm.
It does a really good job on writing headlines. I had to
Yeah.
generate some for my workshop that I did yesterday. Came up with some good ones.
Yeah. And that's when I did the blog posts. I just said, write 300 words on this topic. So when I did, and I said, give me 3 headlines, possible headlines for it. And then it chose
I
some.
went 10.
Yeah. Well, and then I'd be like, give me 3 more if I didn't like them.
Yeah.
So,
And I specified that they be clickbait, and they didn't sound clickbait, but they sounded good. So
mhm. Yeah. And I think it stores everything that you've done previous to that. So, at some point
well,
in
it
time, like
does.
Seneca said, you're going to need to start separate chats if they're very
Yeah.
distinctly different things that you're asking it to do. Because it may be confused because, like, well, over here you want me to act like this, and over here you want me to act like that, and that's like completely divergent, or you're talking about something completely foreign to this thing over here.
Yes,
So,
don't have it be a Bible scholar in one chat and then decide it's going to start marketing.
mhm,
Set those up separate and, tell it right from the get-go what you're wanting it to do exactly. I mean, as most specific as you can.
mhm. And that's a lot of the debate on where this is going and all of that kind of stuff. Kind of comes down to whether or not it's going to replace humans. So, and that I don't think it will ever do. It will be able to completely. Um, so, and in part because it's never going to be a human. So it doesn't have a soul, it doesn't have a spirit, it doesn't have um, a God given purpose on this earth. So, like humans do. So your humanity is inherent to you and is not going to be replaced. So when you're using these things, it's like we're using them as tools. It's just another tool. It's a hammer, saw, whatever. But the impetus behind it is still us and our humanity and what we're wanting to bring into the earth. So, and that's true in the art world as well. There's a lot of huge debates on similar software, I don't know, hardware, whatever's behind this thing, a similar engine for artwork. And it's doing basically the same thing. It's scraping all the images off the internet and then it's compiling them into something theoretically new. And there's a lot of kind of jokes about it too, that like it'll give people 6 fingers and with like really strange stuff. So, you can't just
Well, that's because they're just, generate me this and they're accepting what it spits out. And like, you can
mhm.
go back and go, well, that's too many fingers. Come on,
Yeah.
get it together.
Yeah, and I haven't played that much with the like Mid Journey's one of them. I can't remember.
Yeah, Lenza, I haven't done that at all.
Yeah, I did
I
a
still
little
got my
bit. I was like,
reservation.
okay, to me, the creation part of artwork is the fun bit. So,
Yeah.
and and again, I don't think, just like it's not like ChatGPT isn't going to replace writers. I don't think any of those AI artworks are going to replace humans. So, but the legalities of using these things is something that's still up in the air. So, because it's so new, it's not been through the courts. It's not, so there's a lot of unknowns, and it,
Plagiarism is my concern. Yeah.
mhm. So it's the tendency of people to freak out and to be.
And I think that I'm not really worried about plagiarism within the text
Mhm.
because you can run it and it isn't, but I don't know if that's true with images, with
Well, and
faces
that's that, yeah.
especially, you know.
And that's because there have been like the signature has actually shown up there. So from people that understand the engine behind it better, theoretically that shouldn't be possible. Like it shouldn't be using one image as a significant enough portion of the compiled image. It's like just mashing a whole bunch of things together for it to do that. But people have had that experience. So, and clearly, if someone else's name's on it, then there is too much of somebody else's artwork in there. That would be something to watch out for sure. So, and that's in the world of art and book covers and all kinds of things. I would tread carefully using those
Yeah.
until it's known. It's not so much like a fear thing. It's just we don't know what the legalities are. So don't use it for something very significant and important in case it turns out that they're like, yeah, no, that's really not okay.
Well,
One
and not
cover
just the
designer.
legalities, but the ethics of it.
Mhm,
You know? I mean,
yeah.
I'm more confident with the text because I can run that through a plagiarism checker and I can look,
Mhm.
but I don't know how to do that with art.
I don't think there is any such thing.
I don't think there is either.
So yeah, and there's a lot of the um, interestingly enough to me, a lot of the stock image sites are developing their own AI, so that, and presumably, um, and part of it is we don't know where they're getting their images. So and that's if it's everything that's out of copyright, then it doesn't matter because the artist no longer owns the rights to that. So, but then like if the stock companies are using the people's photography that they and artwork that they've uploaded to the site to then you to scrape for the data, that starts getting a little murky. So when they've not given you permission to do that.
Well,
So
I would imagine they'd have to have all their artists sign off on that.
one would hope, but evidently they haven't as yet.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. But it's still very early days. So, but one use case that I thought was really good for the image based thing is one cover designer created like an AI element and then used that with other stock and photo bashed it together herself. So it was one element, it was like a mashup, an element that was then added to a larger group of things that is most likely would be safe to use, I would think. But again, nobody knows for sure. So, and the difficulty is that's how you're trained as an artist is you copy other people's work. So that's how you develop different skill sets and learn how things do is by that copying process. So in my mind, it isn't so much the copying process, it is but like that's a copy of somebody's work and that you can sell them as a copy, but not as well, and even that, it depends. I haven't done that in quite a while. So I don't know if that's still the case, but it used to be when I was first taking art classes and all that, that was okay. But the courts may have decided otherwise. So, and that's one thing. The law is not, the law is fairly gray, and it relies on precedent, which is when a case goes to court. So, and that's what the law is based on from there. So that's partly why we're saying it until it goes to court, until someone takes somebody to court and there's a definitive answer, nobody knows. And that's going to be a while, I would think, before that happens. So, and I pity the the initial courts that have to think about that because,
Oh, yeah.
oh, and I would imagine that they'd probably go fairly high to state supreme, if not the Supreme Court, just because of the lack of precedent and the
Mhm.
completely new ground that we're treading. So, but it's a great tool to use as long as you keep those things in mind. Keep the ethics of what you're doing, and understand that it was trained and it's scraping data from other people. That's how it
Yeah.
learns. I mean, again, that's how humans learn. So,
Well, yeah, anytime we write a paper with research, we're going and scraping that data and it's manual,
yeah,
and we're having to put it in our own words. So
yeah.
I'm
And
not
so,
really seeing the difference. Yeah.
right, yeah, there isn't a huge difference, as long as you do go back and find your sources for
Yeah.
things. So, and that, evidently is not one of its its abilities. So, but typically that's not really that difficult to discover. I was just working on a client's book and helping her locate some citations. Um,
Yeah.
and
I
I
never,
just typed in the thing, into my internet search, and
yeah,
several things popped up, and I just looked through to find the right thing. It didn't take a whole lot of time. So, um, but
yeah.
yeah,
Well, anyway, if you're going to try this, we're going to put out a little newsletter specifically to this. So if you want to go to supernaturalbiz.com/AI, then you can sign up for that. And we're just going to drop kind of what we're doing, what we're using it for, just to give you ideas. And we'll do that as long as it's fun for us. So
yeah,
if we're not doing it anymore, then you probably won't hear from us, and that might be sporadic and
yeah, probably will be because
probably.
we, we tend to play with things a lot, and then we'll
Yeah.
leave it for a while and come back, and so yeah.
Yep. It's fun right now.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's the shiny new toy.
Yeah. Yep. So, and just like with any shiny new toy, then definitely put boundaries on your use for it
Yeah.
so it doesn't completely derail you from what you're trying to do.
Yeah. All the fundamentals of running your business are still important.
Yes. They do not change no matter what shiny new things out there.
Hopefully, this just helps you do them faster or more efficiently, and
Yeah.
it actually buys you time instead of costing you. That's the idea,
Yeah.
ultimately.
And that's what we're finding. But of course there's a learning curve. So
Yeah.
we're finding that that's a possibility, I
Yeah.
should
I'm
say.
just like pushing on the boundaries of what it can do and
Yeah.
figuring out where that is. And making sure that I get all the way to the boundaries, because that's the other thing is it's kind of like your imagination is your limit there.
Mhm.
And like I didn't know it could do all those things when you just ask it what it can do for you. Tell it what you are and see what it spits out for ideas of how it can help.
Yeah. So that's kind of a fascinating feature of it right then, right
I
there.
know.
No.
Yeah. How do I get my iPhone to go to sleep at a certain time? Yeah. Just it could actually be the new Google, and that's, kind of like, okay, what does that mean for those of us that are in SEO and,
Mhm.
paying attention to all of that? How is this going to change how we go, everybody going forward?
Mhm.
I mean, it'll be slow, but it is going to change.
Mhm. But then again, everything always has changed, so there's nothing new
Right.
about that.
Right.
Yeah. So the world has seen all kinds of change, AI or not. So,
Well, and that's Google too. It relies on AI because it's
mhm,
tracking your every move and it knows all these things about you. So when you type something in there, it's going to try to serve you the right search material based on
mhm,
who you are and what you're interested in, where you are, and all of those
mhm.
things.
Yeah, which is fascinating and creepy all at the same
Oh yeah.
time. Yeah,
That's why it wants you to sign into your account every time I pick up my phone and do anything on there.
yeah,
Nope.
yep,
So yeah, you have to make the machine work for you, not you work for it. That's another. And I don't know where that line is all the time, but
yeah, yep. So, but be at peace, and I think be led by peace. And if you have, grave misgivings, then sit back and wait and see.
mhm.
So, Seneca and I, we kind of Seneca much more than me, but she's always a forerunner and jumping into things first. So, but and I don't tend to have a great deal of fear regarding new things just because they're new. Um, so I just may not care. So just like with the artwork, okay, well that's fine, but that doesn't help me. So I'm not going to play with it. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, to me, it'd be interesting to feed it my own artwork, and then if I had like because I've got
Yeah.
quite a large body of work, if I could feed it my artwork and then have it create additional derivative works based on that, to me would be interesting. I just would be curious. I don't know that I would like it, but I'd be curious to see what I could do. But I
Well,
don't have any interest in, most of the stuff that I've seen.
it might give you a new direction though, because it would know your style and then go, okay, you could kind of like that one, so you would
Yeah.
recreate it for real
Yeah.
with whatever tweaks that you want to do.
Hmm. Which there always are.
So yeah, idea generation I think is probably a good use of the tool.
Yeah,
Both for
absolutely.
text too, you could say something about what your business is and have it give you ideas for new blog posts or
Hmm.
presentations or whatever it is that you need.
Yeah. Autoresponders for your email.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All the things.
Yeah,
And that's
have
where,
it.
explain it to me like a second grader, I think could come in very handy for you if you've got very complex or difficult to comprehend things. Then, and often we have great deal of difficulty when we're very immersed in a subject matter and we know all the jargon, we know all the things to get ourselves out and to communicate that clearly and simply. So now it may not do it correctly, but it would at least simplify the language so that then you would hopefully have a better place to start. So,
Yeah, I'm sure you would want to tweak that some, but
mhm,
well, and the other thing for the summarizing, if you had a presentation that you're listening to and you're just not quite getting it,
mhm,
have the tool run it through and
yeah. And that's what I found with when I took it's some stuff I've been listening to and I transcribed it because I do better reading than I do with auditory, just auditory if I take a lot of notes, but that takes a lot of time. So I was wanting to speed up my assimilation of this information. And I thought it did a really pretty good job. So of just kind of like giving me like the overview. And so then um, kind of like it's skimming the content for me. So then that way I can find the sections that really have the information I want to do a deep dive in myself, and then go through, and actually read the transcript or listen to that, track or CD or whatever it is. And so
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of cool things that you can kind of get through a lot of information and kind of discard a lot of superfluous information that you don't want or need, and then dive deep with the stuff that is the answer you're looking for. So, or at least a part of it. So, yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
So,
Well, I think we've run out for what we've experimented with so far. So again, if you want to keep up with our experiments, go to supernaturalbiz.com/AI, sign up, and we'll talk to you there.
all right. See y'all later.